Joining us live is Labor MP Dan Merlino and the Liberal Senator Jonathon Duniam. Good morning to you both. Jonathan, I'll start with you today. It was, as we all know now, a poor showing for the Libs right across the board, but particularly in Tassie. What went wrong in your view?
Well, g'day to you both, and can I say I've had better weekends, but so have my colleagues here, in particular Bridget Archer, who for 6 years now has valiantly been Bass's person in Canberra, not the other way around, but we couldn't swim against the tide. What went wrong? Well, frankly, we had a bad campaign run out of our central campaign headquarters on the mainland. Many of us on the ground right across the country, me here in Tasmania, saw some pretty alarming signs, which we fed in, but were ignored. We had bad pollsters giving us bad numbers, way off the mark, totally out of line with all of the published polling. Our own polling here in Tasmania pointed to the wipeout we ultimately got. And so there are some people in our campaign headquarters who are going to have to answer some questions for us around what went wrong here. The bottom line is, though, as a party, we've got to rebuild, and that's the task ahead of us. But I do want to congratulate Dan and his team. I mean, they won. They deserved to win. They had a good campaign. They're amazing campaigners. But we've got a lot of work to do now.
OK, well, just a few points on that before we go to Dan. So what were the signs? Can you elaborate on that? What was the feedback that you were providing?
Well, for a start, the polling that was coming out of our campaign headquarters on the mainland sort of seemed to indicate we should be getting warm embraces at every polling booth we were at. We weren't. We had some later on internal polling which indicated, as I say, that we were definitely going to lose Lions, that we were at best 50-50 in Bass and Braddon, but all of that was ignored. I mean, we had community groups calling out for certain action on projects. Labor were going out there and making those commitments. We sat idly by because from campaign headquarters we were told, no, there's nothing else you need to do. We're on track. Things are good. So we were let down by pollsters and strategists, which frankly gave us a bum steer of the worst order. And now we have the result to fit those bits of bad advice.
So what about policies? What about party leadership as well?
Well, I mean, obviously Labor ran a very effective campaign, and part of that was, in effect, demonising Peter Dutton. There was an element of that, of course. But
do you think, just in hindsight, were the policies bad? Was the leadership bad, from your view?
Look, in terms of policies, well, look, in Tasmania, if I can keep it local, all politics is local down here. And, you know, there was a national health narrative. Labor ran a very good campaign on that about cuts. We attempted to nullify that by matching. But where was all the local stuff? You know, where was the urgent care clinics in the small communities? Where was our support for the Tassie health system? Labor did it. We didn't. We were ignored with our requests. And as a result, we've lost Bass, we've lost Braddon, and I can't see us getting Lions anytime soon. OK.
Daniel, you've been waiting there patiently. I'll ask you now. I mean, in Victoria, there is still the chance of two Liberal pickups in Kooyong and Goldstein. We'll go to Tom Connell with the latest on that next hour. So, look, that's a consolation prize to be sure. But what do you think Labor understood that the Liberal Party did not?
Well, thanks, Pete, and look, thanks, Jono, for your acknowledgement of the result. Look, I think for me, the core of the result in terms of the people that I was talking to on the doors and at pre-poll, and what resonated really strongly in my area were policies like Medicare, the urgent care clinics, cheaper medicines, very concrete policies that resonated with people and that I could talk to people and explain to them and that matched their values. But also things like investment in training, fee-free TAFE, and also investment in a lot of transport infrastructure right across Melbourne's west, whether it be Melbourne Airport Rail or whether it be investment in highways and major roads. So, look, I think it was a campaign that was very focused on cost of living and practical service delivery, which people understood, which resonated with their values.
You got your hand up for a promotion, Dan?
Oh, look, I'm still very focused on the scrutineering and the counting of all the votes in my area. I was gratified to get a swing on primaries, but look, there's a lot of interesting patterns to digest in my seat. So it's been a strong result where I am, but look, the Greens made a bit of headway, and so look, I've got to sit down and have a look at all the results in my seat. But look, it was a strong local result, and can I just say thanks to my campaign team, but also to all the volunteers. All politicians and all campaigns across this country are built on big teams of volunteers, and I just want to acknowledge all the hard work they've been doing for months.
All right, John, look, as you pointed out, there's a big job ahead of you now. Who do you want to lead the party, first of all?
Well, look, I'm not going to start putting names out there. I mean, there's a few names floating about, and we'll have a party room once the count is completed and we know who's in party room and who is not. And look, whoever it is has to get back to basics when it's policy, when it's communicating with the community that we lost touch with. I mean, it's a very, very basic proposition, politics. You know, go out, understand what the issues are, find a solution within your values framework, go back out, tell people what you're going to do, and hopefully that translates into votes. I just want a leader that's going to do that. So
Holly Hughes on this program yesterday had a hell of a crack at Angus Taylor. You know, he's tarnished because of his tax policy, or perhaps the absence of one for the last election. Do you share those concerns about him and his potential to lead the party? No, look, I don't. And I mean, within the New South Wales division, there's always going to be history between members of Parliament from that division. It's a well-known fact. Look, I don't share those concerns. Frankly, though, now we have to draw a line in the sand. And if there were things we did wrong, including economic policy, let's get it right, because that's what the people of Australia and our party members expect us to do, or else we're never going to win. Do you think you need to drift more to the centre, or even more to the left than you were on the right, or more to the right? Catch your old base. I mean, that would go against the the large number of young people in the cities now. I mean, how do you get those back? Well, as I said before, I mean, politics is common sense. It's not rocket science. And this whole left and right, well, that is such a red herring in this debate. I mean, yes, commentators will characterise our policy offerings as left or right, but I think if we, as those who people send to Canberra to try and put up policies and hold a government to account in opposition, get bogged down in that, we are never going to win. We've actually just got to get back to basics, and me sitting here in my office and pontificating is not going to help that. I've got to get out and actually understand what we did wrong, what we need to do right, and get out and do it. Jono and Dan, appreciate your time on this Tuesday morning. Thanks again. We'll talk to you again soon.